Obviously, didn't start off as the Minister of Public Works. I was initially an aide in the president's office, and then got promoted to be Deputy Chief of Staff to the president. And I was sort of the liaison between the president's office and the Chinese embassy. And one of the projects we ended up doing with the Chinese was the rehabilitation of the terminal at Roberts International Airport. That's the airport in Monrovia. And it was about $50 million. The way it worked is a Chinese company comes over. We have a need. A Chinese company tells us they're capable of being able to do this. We check their resume. We check what they've done before. We agree. There is an MOU that is signed between us and the Chinese company. That MOU then is taken to the commercial council, who then sends it back to Beijing, and negotiations follow. Now, for us on this, they told us that the cost was around $50 million. Obviously, as Minister of Public Works, I didn't have on my staff anyone who's built an airport before and who's able to tell me if the cost that they were saying was actually true. So we agreed, us and the Chinese government and company, that we would hire a third party, a British firm, to review the design and costs that the Chinese have presented to us, and they would tell us what the cost was, and whatever answer they came to would be what we would accept. And so we hired WSP Parsons out of the UK, and they came back and said that it was about $48.9 million. So $48.9 million, $50 million, it made sense. We signed it for $50 million. Then we hired the British firm to supervise the Chinese construction so that we would be able to get the quality we paid for. I think one of the questions that always comes up in terms of Chinese construction works has been, the quality of what comes out. I think hiring construction supervision firms to supervise the work and ensure quality helps you to be able to get the value for what you pay for. Now, what I would say about the Chinese process is how fast it is. So for the part of Africa where I'm from, the tropical parts of Africa, we have really just 2 seasons instead of 4. One is the rainy season, one is the dry season. And in the rainy season, it's torrential rains because it's in tropical rainforest. And it's really hard to do any civil works, physical civil works. So it means out of a year, we literally have just 6 months to do construction. And the rest of the time is raining, and we're not able to do as much as we'd like to do. So the speed with which we can negotiate a deal, the speed with which we can finish a transaction so that we can finance a project is really important. Now, if we had to do that with, say, the European Investment Bank, or had to do that with the World Bank or the African Development Bank, it would take significantly longer. Not because they're trying to slow down the process, but they have due diligence processes. They have different departments within those banks that make it really, really hard for you to be able to do anything quickly. And so instead of something that with the Chinese would take between 8 to 12 months, on average, you have projects that take between 24 to 28 or 30 months from concept, when we first decide what we're going to do, to first disbursement, when the first monies are paid for anything. And so the Chinese have been very, very agile in terms of the speed with which they can negotiate.